Now that the regular season is over, these teams have a lot to think about.
Should Baltimore give Lamar a fully guaranteed contract?
Absolutely not.
Geez. Didn't even finish the question.
He hasn't been able to finish out the last 2 seasons.
All 32 NFL clubs need to finalize their long-term plans and figure out how to approach the offseason. Let's dive into every NFL team's biggest cause for concern heading into the 2023 offseason. Arizona Cardinals, who's the short-term solution at QB? Kyler Murray is expected to miss the start of 2023, recovering from a torn ACL, while Colt McCoy will be limited throughout the offseason. Trace McSorley is an unrestricted free agent. David Blau is a restricted free agent. So that leaves the Cardinals with 0 healthy quarterbacks going into the offseason. There will be some big decisions to be made for this team over the next few months. Atlanta Falcons, how to fix the defense. Atlanta's defense has been a train wreck since the Super Bowl 51 collapse. So how does GM Terry Fontenot go about fixing it? Does he load up on D during the draft? Does he go on a shopping spree in free agency? All Fontenot needs is 2 more quality pass rushers to help Grady Jarrett, some better linebackers, another stud corner, and a playmaking safety. Good luck with that. Baltimore Ravens, what's the plan with Lamar Jackson? You can understand why the Ravens are hesitant to give Jackson a fully guaranteed contract given his injury history. But at the same time, if you trade Jackson or let him walk to free agency, who the heck's your replacement? Jackson is 45-16 as Baltimore's starter. They went 1-4 without him in 2021 and 2-4 in 2022. And that includes the postseason. Pay him, trade him, tag him, let him walk, which one is it? And if he is gone, what then? Buffalo Bills, WR2 wanted. GM Brandon Beane has limited cap space, but his main concern should be finding a proven number 2 wide receiver to take some of the pressure off of Stephon Diggs. The hope was that Gabriel Davis could take on that role, but that proved to be too tall a task for him in 2022. Do they give Davis another shot, or is it time to look elsewhere? Carolina Panthers, who's Frank Reich's new QB? Hiring an offensive-minded head coach like Reich was step 1 to fixing Carolina's quarterback issues. Now comes step 2, finding a quarterback. Do they swing a trade for Aaron Rodgers or Lamar Jackson? Make a play for a veteran like Jimmy G? Do they trade up and take Will Levis? Or try to take a chance on Anthony Richardson? These are all options that they have, but we just don't know where they're gonna go. Chicago Bears, trade or keep Justin Fields? Fields is coming off a strong sophomore season. The Bears need to build around the phenom quarterback, right? Or maybe not? GM Ryan Poles and head coach Matt Eberflus weren't here when the Bears drafted Fields in 2021. What if they're more enticed by Bryce Young or CJ Stroud? Chicago holds the first overall pick in April's draft, and they have plenty of options for it. Cincinnati Bengals, how to keep T. Higgins. Cincy's number 2 receiver is popping up in trade rumors as he enters the final year of his rookie deal. There is no way the Bengals should even consider trading Higgins. Don't you dare blow up the Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Jamar Chase trio. Cleveland Browns, reshaping the defense. In just 1 year, Cleveland went from having the number 13 scoring defense in the NFL to the 20th. Jadeveon Clowney is a goner after a forgettable year, and Denzel Ward must figure out what went wrong in the worst season of his pro career. GM Andrew Berry has to find another starting corner and safety. He needs to find more pass rushing help to complement Myles Garrett, and he'd be wise to find another playmaking linebacker too. Dallas Cowboys, Pollard, Zeke, or both. Tony Pollard is coming off a career season, in his contract year no less. Ezekiel Elliott is still an effective player, especially in the red zone. So, do you pay Pollard and cut Zeke? Do you let Pollard walk and find someone cheaper to play with Zeke? Or does Jerry Jones find a way to keep both? The Cowboys' tough salary cap situation does not make this any easier of a decision. Denver Broncos, protecting Russell Wilson. Wilson was bad, but he wasn't entirely to blame for Denver's disastrous 2022 season. The guy missed 2 games, and yet he was still sacked 55 times. GM George Payton must find a way to fix this O-line. Detroit Lions, fixing the secondary. The Lions hit a home run when they took Aiden Hutchinson 2nd overall last year. The front 7 has a promising outlook, but the Lions need someone to help protect against the pass. What does GM Brad Holmes do with 2 first-round picks? Well, we think we have an idea of what he should do. Yeah, address that secondary. Green Bay Packers, the QB situation. If Aaron Rodgers retires or demands a trade, that'll all but end Green Bay's competitive window. Do the Packers truly trust 2020 first-rounder Jordan Love to save the day, or should the front office consider drafting a QB this year? Green Bay's offseason outlook hinges entirely on Rodgers' decision. Houston Texans, Bryce Young or CJ Stroud. With the number 2 selection, Houston is guaranteed Alabama's Bryce Young or Ohio State's CJ Stroud. If they end up having their pick between the two, which one should GM Nick Caserio go with? Indianapolis Colts? Who's walking through the QB door? Young, Stroud, Anthony Richardson, or Will Levis? The Colts have to take one of them with their 2023 first-round pick. The question is, which one? A good chance they'll get Stroud or Young. If that doesn't happen, does GM Chris Ballard like Richardson or Levis enough to use the 4th overall pick on them? Jacksonville Jaguars? Who's head of the TE party? Evan Ingram made the most of his prove-it deal with the Jaguars by turning in his best season yet, posting 73 catches for 766 yards and 4 touchdowns. So, did the Jaguars extend Ingram and hope 2022 wasn't a mirage? If he walks, who's their new starting tight end? Christian Kirk can't be the only consistent pass-catching weapon that Trevor Lawrence has. Kansas City Chiefs? What to do with Orlando Brown Jr.? Did the cap-strapped defending champs pay Brown what he's worth and give Patrick Mahomes some long-term blindside protection? Or did they let him walk and hope to strike gold in the draft or free agency? Tough call. Las Vegas Raiders, Derek Carr's replacement. The Raiders did the right thing by cutting Carr. Too bad Tom Brady retired, as he was probably first on their list of replacements. The Raiders have enough talented veterans to try and win now. Did they bring in Aaron Rodgers? Lamar Jackson? How about reuniting Garoppolo with Josh McDaniels? Finding the proper replacement for Carr will make or break the Raiders' 2023 season. And if McDaniels gets it wrong, he'll probably be out of a job by this time next year. Los Angeles Chargers rebuilding the wide receiver room. Mike Williams is here to stay, but now feels like the right time to move on from the expensive and aging Keenan Allen. GM Tom Telesco should cut Allen loose and eye another option, like DeAndre Hopkins or one of the top wideouts in this year's draft. Rebuilding the receiving corps is a must if this team wants to start competing with the Chiefs for AFC West supremacy. Los Angeles Rams deciding on a long-term plan. Is now the time for GM Les Snead to tear it all down and rebuild? Does the roster just need a few small tweaks, or does he continue to trade draft capital in an effort to win now? All 3 options feel equally logical, but Snead has to pick a plan and ace it. Otherwise, the Rams will quickly fall back into irrelevance following their thrilling Super Bowl 56 victory. Miami Dolphins, can they rely on Tua? A trio of head injuries kept Miami's star QB out for 4 regular season games and the team's wildcard round loss to the Buffalo Bills. Now Miami must decide if they can trust Tagovailoa to stay healthy throughout a full season. GM Chris Grier may also want to find a suitable backup option in case Tua struggles to stay healthy once again. But just how much is his team willing to pay for a number 2 quarterback with so many other holes on their roster left to address as well? Minnesota Vikings, so many holes to fill on defense, such little money. The reigning NFC North champs must rebuild an atrocious defense that finished 28th in points allowed in 2022. Good luck doing that with a brutal cap situation. Many entered the offseason with $25 million over the salary cap. So how do they get a whole new defensive line, a couple of linebackers, and some much-needed secondary help with no cap space? Well, that's not for us to figure out. New England Patriots? Are Mac Jones and Bill Belichick on the same page? Bill Belichick wasted a full season in Foxborough by making Matt Patricia and Joe Judge his co-offensive play callers. We know how that worked out for Mac Jones and the Patriots. Jones' sideline temper tantrums rubbed many the wrong way. It's very uncharacteristic for any Patriot to act like that. Is the Jones-Belichick relationship damaged for good? Or can they fix things with Bill O'Brien now serving as the OC? New Orleans Saints. Rebuild or retool? Is now the time for GM Mickey Loomis to unload guys like Cam Jordan, Michael Thomas, and Alvin Kamara? Or does he remain in win-now mode and try to make a run at the division crown? Either way, he's got to properly execute this plan following the franchise's first losing season in 6 years. New York Giants. Offensive reinforcements for Danny Dimes plus Saquon? The Giants' starting QB and top offensive weapon are both pending free agents. GM Joe Shane has to find a way to keep them both. And then, if there's enough cap space, it's pivotal that he finds a way to bring in a couple of pass-catching weapons. The offense desperately needs reinforcements if the G-men are to build off a surprisingly successful season. New York Jets, the QB situation. Zach Wilson can't be the starter in 2023. So how do the Jets go about replacing him? Swing for the fences and try to get Aaron Rodgers? Or sign a bridge QB option and prepare to swing harder next offseason? Joe Douglas's biggest decision yet as GM of the Jets now awaits. Philadelphia Eagles extending Jalen Hurts at a fair price. Hurts had an up and down sophomore year and then an MVP-like season in year 3. The Eagles should extend their franchise QB this offseason, but what's a fair price for both parties? The Eagles don't want an awkward situation like we're seeing with Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, so it'll be interesting to see how GM Howie Roseman goes about the process of extending his QB. Pittsburgh Steelers fixing the offensive line. The growth of Kenny Pickett, George Pickens, and Najee Harris will see Pittsburgh improve on offense in 2023, but they ought to fix up that O-line ASAP. The Steelers tend to shy away from pricey free agents. Can GM Omar Khan rely on the draft and some cheap free agents to fix the unit up front? Pittsburgh fans can only cross their fingers and hope that the front office gets it right. The San Francisco 49ers, a safe QB insurance plan. Trey Lance is recovering from a broken ankle, and Brock Purdy may not be ready until August as he recovers from a UCL injury. The rest of the roster is set, but the quarterback room currently has its fair share of question marks. It would definitely help to bring in a proven veteran as a third stringer, but the question is, will they? Seattle Seahawks. Geno Smith or Geno More? Geno Smith won Comeback Player of the Year honors and led Seattle to the postseason. But can Pete Carroll and company trust a 33-year-old to build off a career year? If not, then who's his successor? With the number 5 pick, should they consider taking one of the prized QB prospects in the draft? Tampa Bay Buccaneers finding the GOAT's successor. Now that Tom Brady is retired for good, the Bucs need a new starting QB. Good luck finding a grade A option with that horrible cap situation. If this team can bring in a legit quarterback, the Bucs will remain in the playoff hunt. If they don't, well, then some very dark years are ahead in Tampa. Tennessee Titans, the offense. All of it. Shall the Titans roll with Ryan Tannehill or Malik Willis? Or just move on from both? With Taylor Lewan getting released, how do they retool the O-line? Who's going to accompany Treylon Burks at wide receiver? Do they trade Derrick Henry or continue building around him? New GM Rand Carthen has his work cut out for him. Washington Commanders, QB please. Carson Wentz was not the answer, as many of us had predicted. So who's going to be Washington's QB following another season of musical chairs at the game's most important position? New year, same old question in DC. Maybe the Commanders will find their solution this time around. But what do you think is your favorite NFL team's biggest cause for concern heading into the offseason? Let us know in the comment section below. If you liked this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.